Hello my friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Novella. Today is Wednesday and that means a midweek check-in. So I have read since Sunday 3 books. The first is The Garden of Evening Mist by Twan Eng. The second is this little novel. It is The Monster from Earth's End by Murray Leinster, and it was written in 1959. And this is also the biography of X that I finished yesterday. Let's start with this one. This one is written by Catherine Lacey, and it is quite fashionable to read this book right now. A lot of people like it, a lot of people love it. I am not convinced by this book. I don't think it's worth the hype, if I'm honest. This is the story, or this is a fake biography. Of course, it's in the title of X. X is an American artist. And she lives in a sort of alternative world. By that I mean after 1945, the United States was divided overnight in the Northern Territory and Southern Territory. And the Northern Territory was a more free country, and which is now the US, and the Southern Territory is very religious, very closed off, very cult-like, and also it feels a bit like Handmaid's Tale, that kind of universe. When CM, she is the narrator of the story, CM is the widow of X. X was also a woman, and she wants to write a biography about her late wife, who was a very famous artist, and she finds out that actually her wife came from the Southern Territory. And we dive into that world in the Southern Territory, and that is where I find the book fascinating, really well done. But whenever she comes back to the Northern Territory and she uses the author uses very well-known names such as Susan Sontag, such as David Bowie, who were her friends and who gave speeches at her wedding and stuff like that. It felt very forced to me. I couldn't. Yeah, it kicked me out of the story. I know it's fiction and you can use real life people in your fiction, but it kicked me out of it and it didn't work for me at all. Of course, you realize that CM doesn't really know her late wife, and she never knew her really. And for X, that was a bit the point. And it was a bit of, to me, it felt like their marriage was sort of an experiment in a way, sort of an art piece. The writing is good. It's written like a biography with pictures of her and of other people with notes on the bottom and or at the bottom. And for me, after a while, it started to feel very gimmicky. But the part that really was fascinating was this, when she talked about the Southern Territory, and that could have been for me was enough. It was enough to keep it there and dive into that past of her late wife, and those fake things with David Bowie, he gives a speech and then cancels her, and no, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't convincing for me. So I really liked the middle part, but at the end I was really bored. I thought it was too long. But anyway, it's not a book I would buy per se. It's something that I would borrow rather than buy, and and then you can decide if it's really your thing. You can buy it afterwards, but at first I would borrow it. My cat is doing something again that is not allowed, but anyway, we continue. Then I read for August, The Monster from Earth's End by Murray Leinster. I believe he has other pen names, but I forgot to look them up. I will put it down in the notes. And this is the story about an airplane that arrives from Antarctica, somewhere in a small island not far from the coast of New Zealand. And the airplane is in distress, clearly in distress. The cargo door is open. And it takes a nosedive, and then finally it lands, still with the landing gear inside. And they look in and they see dead people, and they don't know what it is, and they investigate and see what's wrong, and suddenly strange killings happen. And yeah, they try to figure out what it is that kills people, because it isn't human. It are things, but what kind of things are they? And I really, really, really enjoyed this little book. It was written in 1959 or 58. This is the edition of 1958. And I thought it was very well written, very engaging, very enjoyable. And I had a blast reading this. It was great. Let me read the blurb. The first hint of something wrong at the outpost was the plane. It crazily circled the little island, its cargo bay doors open, its radio dead. It seems to hang in the air for a moment, and then it dived downward, leveled and dipped again. It made a belly landing on the stone runway with its wheels still retracted. There was a singular, dead silence, and then a shot rang out. The crew of two and the 7 passengers had vanished. The cargo was strewn about, and the fuel tanks had been emptied. And the pilot, after landing, had blown his brains out. It was really good. It was actually really good. And then I also read The Garden of Evening Mists by Twan Eng. This is a story of Yun Ling, and she was held captive in a Japanese camp during the Second World War. She had some gruesome experiences there, and she was a sole survivor of that camp. And after the war, she returns to her native northern Malaya, and there she becomes a judge, and she is mostly responsible for convicting Japanese war criminals. And after a while, she had enough, and she wants to create a garden, and she has heard that there's a little bit further on a Japanese man who used to be the gardener of the emperor. And at first she doesn't like him at all, but still he offers her to learn her the art of gardening. And the more they see each other, the more they open up to each other. And she talks about her gruesome experiences, and he was a fighter, a pilot during the Second World War. And at a certain point they grow towards each other. And it is a very beautiful story, although I struggled with the beginning, was quite slow to, yeah, up to the last 150 pages, and then the last 150 pages made it all worth. It is beautifully written, sensitive, with beautiful nature descriptions and flower descriptions and everything. The way Twan Eng describes a tattoo is magnificent. And yeah, it's brilliant, but it is by far not as good as The House of Doors. So I urgently, if you have read this one, The Garden of Evening Mists, really read The House of Doors, or The House with Doors, not The House of Doors. You will absolutely love it. It's also nominated for the Booker this year. It's longlisted. So yeah, I think it has a really good chance of winning this year. So yeah, that's it. I liked it. I would buy it and be happy with it. You can borrow it, but it's a buy book. It's really good, but it wasn't just not as good as The House of Doors. I like that even more. Now it's funny that I liked the House of Doors a lot, although it's a fake account also of William Somerset Maugham. And I didn't like it with the Biography of X. It's just because it didn't. Yeah, it was different. The setting was more respectful towards William Somerset Maugham than here. It was just more name dropping when I mean Biography of X. So yeah, no. Best book this week so far, the Garden of Evening Mists, and then this one was really good, absolutely good. I bought it for €1 or €2. It's in really good condition, I think. Of course, the pages are yellow, but that didn't keep me from enjoying it. I think it even adds a little bit more, so I'm glad I bought it. I won't give it away to somebody. It's something that will stay in my collection. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you Friday or Saturday. We'll see. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.